In the following video, a woman is casually filming herself in the mirror, checking her appearance with her phone light on, like it's any other normal moment. Nothing seems out of place at first, until a loud banging noise suddenly echoes from somewhere else in the house. Her expression changes instantly. She turns the camera and slowly walks toward the sound, her footsteps cautious. The noise leads her up the stairs, and by the time she reaches the top, her breathing is noticeably heavier, a mix of nerves and adrenaline. She pauses in front of the attic door for a moment before finally pulling it open. The attic is completely empty. No movement, no animals, no loose objects that could explain the sound. She scans the space with the camera, clearly confused and shaken, before backing away. Whatever caused the banging had completely vanished, leaving her alone with the unsettling realization that the noise came from somewhere she couldn't explain at all. Sam is a member of staff at the Jefferson Hotel, a place that's already gained a reputation for a surge of unexplained activity over the past few months, and this clip only adds to it. He shared this CCTV footage after another strange incident left him completely shaken. Take a look.
Here's the shirt pulling episode. Right now we're talking about the footage, and look at my shirt right there in the middle, and watch what happens. Right there. So we both react, and you can see right here, I'll do it in slow motion and show you. Right there, hold on. Right there. The shirt just gets pulled a little bit. And then, here's our reactions. I gotta turn it down because there's some cussing going on, because we were in such disbelief. But you'll be able to see, I'm like trying to describe to her the feeling I got. It was such a weird feeling. And again, I can't say it's anything paranormal. In my opinion, I think it was, just because of the events that happened and the feeling everybody got, and of course that movement was really...
The camera shows the hotel kitchen looking quiet and empty, except for Sam and his wife standing side by side in the middle, casually talking while the rest of the room stays completely still. For a moment, nothing seems out of place. Then, without any warning, the fabric on Sam's shirt suddenly shifts and tugs outward, as if something invisible had grabbed it. The movement is quick but unmistakable, pulling hard enough to catch both of their attention instantly. Sam freezes and looks down in disbelief, while his wife looks equally shocked, clearly confused, and trying to process what she just saw. There's no breeze, no one else in the kitchen, and nothing nearby that could have caused it. They both scan the room, visibly unsettled, realizing whatever touched him wasn't visible on camera. Given the Jefferson Hotel's growing list of similar incidents, this footage only fuels speculation that something unseen is still actively moving through the building. And according to Sam, this was far from the last strange thing to happen there. Really early into the morning, CCTV footage captured inside what appears to be a salon or training space shows something unsettling happening in the early hours of the morning. It's around 4 a.m., long after anyone should be inside the building, and the room is completely still. However, the camera in the room suddenly detects motion, and what it shows is terrifying. Without warning, the fire exit door slowly opens on its own, revealing nothing but darkness behind it. No one enters, no movement can be seen, yet the door remains open for a moment before calmly closing itself again, inch by inch, as if someone unseen was pulling it shut. Just when things seem to settle, one of the mannequin heads lined neatly on the shelves suddenly tips over and falls. Seconds later, several items on the counter beneath are knocked to the floor in quick succession, as if something had swept across the surface. There's no explanation for the chain reaction, and no one is visible anywhere in the footage. Whoever or whatever opened that door clearly didn't leave quietly and wanted to be noticed by the owners. Who knows what action this will cause them to take? A father is always going to respond when their baby cries, especially in the middle of the night when the house is meant to be silent. That's exactly what Matt did when loud, panicked crying suddenly echoed through the hallway, sounding exactly like it was coming from his son's room. Without thinking twice, he rushed out of his bedroom, not knowing the living room camera was already recording what happened next.
Good.
As Matt runs down the hall, something disturbing appears in the corner of the footage. A small, nearly transparent figure, shaped like a young boy, darts around the corner and vanishes out of sight. Matt follows it instinctively, clearly focused on getting to his child, but when he reaches the spot where it disappeared, there's nothing there. No movement, no sound, just an empty hallway. Moments later, his wife confirms on camera that their baby is fast asleep, not crying at all. That's when the reality sinks in. The sound that pulled Matt out of bed didn't come from his son, and whatever ran through the house wasn't supposed to be there. The footage ends shortly after, but Matt later said he hasn't been able to explain the crying or the figure since, and the camera catching it only made the experience harder to ignore. Mr. Fender was filming a regular TikTok, nothing paranormal intended, just showing his followers how powerful his new lights were. He headed out into the woods at night to demonstrate the brightness properly, completely unaware of what was about to be revealed.
The lights are definitely functional, but unfortunately I live in a city and there are street lights everywhere. But I can find a place to go test them. Okay, I found some really dark woods. I just put some tinfoil over the reverse lights. So I'm going to show you what the stock reverse lights look like, and then I'm going to uncover them and show you what the added reverse lights look like. These are the stock reverse lights.
Literally can't see anything.
And these are the ones I just installed. Look how friggin' bright that is. This is amazing. Yeah, so these are not just for looks.
As he switches the light on, the beam floods the trees ahead, lighting up the area far more than expected. For a split second, something horrifying is visible. Wrapped tightly around the trunk of a tree just ahead is what looks unmistakably like a human arm, pale and thin, clinging to the bark. Almost immediately, as the light fully hits it, the arm pulls back behind the tree and disappears from view. Mr. Fender keeps talking, completely oblivious, continuing his demonstration like nothing happened. But viewers noticed it instantly. The comments flooded in, people replaying the clip frame by frame, all pointing out the same thing he never saw. There was no one else with him, no prank, no explanation for how an arm could be there and vanish that fast. The woods were silent, and Mr. Fender never reacted, making the moment even more disturbing. Whatever was hiding behind that tree clearly did not want to be seen, and the only reason anyone knows it was there at all is because the light was just a little too effective. He was out in nature filming quietly by himself, standing beside a wide river with a slow, almost glassy current. What immediately stood out was how silent everything felt. No birds, no insects, nothing you'd normally expect to hear in a place like this. That kind of silence is what made him start recording in the first place. He slowly turns the camera toward the opposite side of the river, focusing on a hill covered in dense trees and thick shrubbery, just scanning the landscape and explaining that something felt off.
Hay gente que hay. Mira, les voy a mostrar algo. Vine a pescar a un lugar muy escondido, pero ya me empezó a dar miedo porque mira cómo está. Y tengo rato que siento que algo me está siguiendo y se escuchan las ramas tronar. Y creo que encontré, si no es el hijo de Pie Grande, es el hijo de King Kong. Tiene rato mirándome, mira. Mira. Por favor, no van a decir que no lo ven. No mames, ya me voy a la verga. Ánimo.
As he zooms in, a strange figure becomes visible within the trees. It's hard to make out and stays idle. The shape doesn't look like a regular animal, and it's far too large to be a person given how remote the area is. The camera shakes slightly as he tries to keep it in frame, clearly realizing he's caught something unusual. After the clip, the man said he left the area immediately, shaken by how quiet it had been and how closely the figure resembled a Sasquatch. Many who've seen the footage believe it could be Sasquatch, especially given the size, posture, and the unnatural stillness of the forest right before it appeared. The following clip comes from a Ring doorbell camera recording late one night at around 10 p.m. when everything seemed completely normal at first. The camera was doing its usual job, pointed toward the porch, with the quiet road stretching out ahead under dim streetlights. Nothing looked out of place, and there was no movement for a while. That didn't last though. As the footage continues, something slowly comes into view at the edge of the frame. A strange, ghost-like figure appears near the road, pale and semi-transparent, moving in an unnatural way that doesn't resemble a person walking by. Almost at the same time, a bright orb drifts across the camera's view, floating smoothly past the lens before disappearing. The figure continues forward, crossing part of the driveway as if it hasn't noticed the camera at all. It doesn't turn its head, doesn't react, just keeps moving until it eventually fades out of view down the road. There were no neighbors outside, no cars passing, and nothing else on the camera that could explain what was captured. The homeowners later checked outside immediately after the alert and found absolutely nothing there. Whatever walked past that Ring camera that night didn't leave footprints, shadows, or any explanation behind, making this one of the creepiest doorbell clips currently circulating. For anyone new here, Ian is a well-known ghost hunter who spent years documenting some of the most unsettling abandoned locations across the Midwest. And this next clip is a direct continuation of his exploration inside the same notoriously haunted factory. By this point, the activity had already escalated, but what happens next is one of the strangest moments he's ever caught.
Dude, how do you explain that? This thing does not look easy to move. Not at all. Yeah, dude, this thing, there's no way. There's no way. Oh, dude. What the f? Wait a minute. Are you taking that thing? Oh my God. All right, that's it. I'm done. Oh my gosh. That thing is freaking moving all over the damn place. Dude, that was so insane.
The old cart rattles back to life once again. Could this be the ghost of the tannery worker taunting me to leave his area?
All right, I'm gonna let you get back to work, okay? Holy shit.
Ian is filming deep inside the factory, slowly scanning the room, thinking about how heavy and oppressive the atmosphere feels, when his camera lands on a large metal cart, sitting completely still on the concrete floor. There's no wind, no slope, nothing around it. As he continues talking, the cart suddenly shifts, then begins sliding across the floor on its own, as if someone invisible had grabbed it and pulled. Ian immediately reacts, backing up while keeping the camera locked on it, showing there's no one nearby and nothing attached to it. The movement is smooth and deliberate, not a sudden jolt or vibration, which makes it even harder to explain away. Moments like this are why Ian believes this factory is one of the most active locations he's ever investigated, and judging by what follows later in the video, whatever was moving that cart wasn't done interacting with him yet. In the following video, a duo of friends armed with flashlights were exploring an abandoned building late at night, hoping to capture whatever had been making the strange noises they kept hearing on earlier visits. It was only supposed to be a quick sweep through the corridors, but things escalated fast when they turned a corner. As they walk down a narrow hallway, their flashlights sweeping across peeling walls and scattered debris, they turn a corner and immediately freeze. Just ahead of them, a ghost-like figure floats upward, rising silently until it disappears completely out of sight above the doorway. The light catches just enough of it to show its shape before it vanishes, leaving the two friends completely stunned. They stand in that corner for a long moment, clearly unsettled, trying to figure out if they really saw what they think they saw. Eventually, they gather the courage to move forward and check the spot where the figure disappeared. But when they round the corner, the space is completely empty, no stairs, no ledges, nothing that something could have climbed or stood on. Whatever floated upward was gone, leaving them with no explanation at all. The next piece of footage was taken on the 17th of October 2012, right in the middle of the day, and it comes from a man named Michael, who insists he was completely alone in the house at the time. For about 10 minutes straight, he kept hearing footsteps going up and down his staircase, the kind of loud, clear steps you'd expect from a full-grown adult. Eventually, he grabbed his camera and started recording because the sounds simply wouldn't stop, and he hoped to catch them as proof.
Okay, it's like the middle of the day. I'm the only person in the house, and just heard some footsteps going up and down the stairs. I've checked all the rooms. There is nobody in. It's been doing it for about 10 minutes. There it is again. Okay. So, I can camera this time. Nothing there though. Whoa. Shit. I'm gonna go have a look. This. Hello? Mike? Charlie?
As soon as he starts filming, you can hear it on camera too, that repetitive thudding of someone pacing the stairs. Michael walks out of his room and points the camera directly at the staircase, but there's nothing there. No movement, no shadows, nothing that explains the noise. Still, the footsteps continue, even while he's staring straight at the stairs. Suddenly, the sound changes. Whatever's on those stairs runs all the way up at full speed, but nothing ever appears in frame. Then, right at the top, the door slams shut, hard enough to shake Michael, stands frozen for a few seconds before finally building up the courage to go inside the room. It turns out to be nothing more than the bathroom, completely empty, no windows open, no one inside, no reason for anything he heard. After this incident, Michael admitted he's now looking to sell the home altogether. A man is standing just outside his bedroom, filming because he claims something in the house has been responding to him whenever he speaks in his native language. He's clearly unsettled, but he keeps the camera rolling as he talks quietly toward the dark hallway, almost as if he's addressing someone he can't see. Little do we know at this point that there is definitely someone there.
Voy a tratar de comunicarme con este ente como me dijeron. Se sienten pasos. Si estás acá, prende la luz. ¿Qué? Si estás aquí en el baño, enciende de nuevo el agua. ¿Hay alguien más que tú aquí en esta casa? Mi vida corre peligro. Está guayando. Aquí no hay... Ah, no, yo me voy.
As he's speaking, the shower in the bathroom beside him suddenly turns itself on, spraying water for a second, before shutting off again. He stops mid-sentence, confused, and walks toward the door. The moment he steps inside, it happens a second time, the shower turning on and off as if something is reacting to his presence. He stays there, wondering if it would happen again, and as expected, the shower triggers a third time, then a fourth, each burst short and deliberate like someone unseen is flicking the tap. Finally, he pulls the shower curtain aside to check for anything that could have caused it. But there's nothing. No loose pipe, no faulty handle, nothing in the tub. Whatever was answering him wasn't something he could see, but it was definitely listening. In the follow-up clip, Franco is still in the same house, this time sitting in his own bedroom with the camera pointed upward as he tries to calm himself after the shower incident. He earlier explained that things haven't stopped since that night, and the second he begins to film, the reasons become obvious. Above him, the ceiling light begins to sway back and forth, slowly at first, like something barely nudged it. Franco keeps filming, well aware that there's no draft, no windows open, nothing that could make it move. But then it starts swinging faster, almost violently, like someone was pushing it from side to side. He tried to stay steady, breathing hard, when something else happened out of nowhere. His bedroom door begins to close on its own, not slamming, but gently, almost politely, until it clicks shut. Franco freezes for a moment before finally mustering up the courage to stand and open it. The second he does, he jumps back in fear as his cat is suddenly sitting right at the threshold, staring up at him. The timing couldn't have been worse, and it terrified him even more. The activity hasn't stopped at all, and Franco is running out of explanations. In the third and most unsettling clip, Franco is back in the same bedroom again, determined to catch whatever has been lurking in his house. He points the camera toward the same doorway where the earlier activity happened, explaining that he keeps hearing movement outside his room late at night. Things escalate quickly.
Hay ruido en el primer piso. Está...
As he films the doorway, something faint moves at the very top of the staircase that leads downstairs. A dark, odd shadow briefly peeks around the corner, just enough to be seen before sliding out of sight again. Franco is very frightened and clearly shaken, but before he even has time to react properly, his bedroom door begins to shut once more. This time it doesn't slam or jolt. It closes normally, smoothly, almost deliberately, like someone was standing behind it and pushing it shut with care. Franco panics and immediately runs to pull the door back open, swinging the camera around the hallway. But just like every other moment in this house, there's nothing. No footsteps, no movement, no one who could have been responsible other than his white cat, who wouldn't have appeared so dark. Whatever is haunting Franco's home isn't done with him yet, and this clip only made things even more disturbing. Luke had been hearing strange voices around his house for a few nights in a row, and this time he finally worked up the nerve to start filming to prove he wasn't imagining it. He sets his camera on the doorway in front of him, trying to capture any sound or movement that might happen. Take a look.
I'm still hearing voices. Listen. Jesus Christ.
For a few seconds, everything is still. The room quiet, except for Luke's uneasy explanation. Then, from somewhere, just out of frame, another door in his room suddenly shuts on its own. It's loud enough that the camera picks it up clearly, even though it's completely off-screen. Luke jumps back with a genuinely shocked reaction, his words showing fear, but there's nothing. No wind, no movement, no shadows, just a door that somehow shut itself while he was lying right there. His reaction alone makes it clear he wasn't expecting it, and whatever voice he'd been hearing before clearly wasn't finished, making itself known. In the follow-up clip, Luke is on edge again because he starts hearing whispering near his room and decides to record once more, convinced that whatever had closed the door before is still around. As he films the room, a strange scattering sound begins coming from inside the walls, quick and uneven, like something crawling behind the plaster. At first, he tries to convince himself it might be a rodent, something normal, something that would at least make sense. But the longer he films, the more wrong it feels, because the scattering stops suddenly and is replaced by a clear whisper that comes from the far side of the room, nowhere near Luke, and definitely not from the walls. It's unmistakably human, low and intentional, and Luke's breathing picks up as he looks around at the empty room. Whatever is in that house with him is not an animal, and it's definitely not his imagination. Luke is still recording when he suddenly goes quiet, because 3 slow knocks hit his bedroom door, spaced out like someone is deliberately trying to get his attention. He stares at the door without moving, waiting to see if it was just the house settling, but then it happens again, the exact same pattern, a little louder this time. Luke takes a deep breath, trying to steady himself, whispering that he doesn't want to open it. Before he can even finish speaking, another round of knocks hits the door, faster now, almost impatient, followed by a final series that's even more aggressive, as if whatever is outside is getting bolder. He stays frozen, the camera shaking slightly in his hand, because the worst part is that he knows for a fact no one else is home. Elderly woman decided to film a short Q&A at home after viewers in her previous videos suggested there might be something wrong with her house. Sitting comfortably in her chair, she answered questions as someone behind the camera read them out loud. It all seemed harmless with her voice being calm, the tone light-hearted, but the atmosphere in the room said otherwise.
Like there's things that are flying off the shelves and things.
I saw it once. Yeah, I saw it once.
Alright, we're going one more. This is from a lady called Miss Butterfly Lady. The ghosts are pissed off with the clutter in your house. So she's saying your house is very messy. Can you explain why your house is messy?
I'm waiting to go out to see to the new year, and the house is messy because Nathan, who is my young son, he would
grandson.
Help clear it up.
Grandson. I'm your grandson then.
My grandson, I mean.
Yeah, so you wouldn't help clear it up. Alright then. So there was one more question. A lady said, there's a lot of booze in your house. You know the bottles you got over there? She said, can you explain why you got so many bottles?
Well, I don't drink it myself. I collect them when somebody gives me some more, I win it in a raffle.
How old did you say they are though?
How old were they?
Yeah, how old would you say all those bottles are?
Well, I don't know. There seemed to be a lot there. But I've got rid of some of it.
Oh, they're quite old though, aren't they?
Yeah, very old.
So yeah, we got 100,000 views. We got now 3,800 followers, subscribers. Can you say any final words to the people, the 120,000 people that saw the video last year on this exact day? As it's today is the 31st of December 2019, and tomorrow will be New Year's Eve. Tomorrow will be New Year's Day. So it's exactly a year ago it happened today. So we're doing an anniversary. So can you go?
I think it's all a load of bullshit.
Alright then. Alright, you got anything else to say to the people before we go?
Just what I said. What I said. I didn't mean to swear, but...
You don't like the internet and Wi-Fi and YouTube?
No, I don't get on with anything like that.
In the background, a string of Christmas lights began flickering at odd intervals, not like a loose connection, but in an uneven rhythm that drew attention once viewers noticed. Near those lights sat a small Santa ornament, perfectly still for most of the video, until the final moments. Towards where the clip ends, the Santa's arm twitches slightly, and several times, just enough to be noticed if you're really watching. The woman didn't seem to realize what was happening behind her, smiling and wrapping things up as the recording cut. But commenters were quick to point it out, with many saying they'd seen the same small movements in her past videos too. Whether it was a trick of the light or something else moving on its own, it left people uneasy, especially knowing she still lives there completely alone. The clip begins with someone quietly zooming in down a dimly lit hallway outside their bedroom door. Everything looks still at first, the camera steady, the only sound being faint breathing. But hanging on the wall, halfway down the corridor, is a guitar, and it's moving.
It's fucking moving. Look, it's my hand.
At first, it swings lightly, almost like it's reacting to air movement, but the longer the camera lingers, the more it shifts. The swinging grows wider, faster, until the sways are indistinguishable. Then, without warning, the motion turns violent. The body of the guitar starts hitting the wall repeatedly, the banging echoing through the hallway. The person filming doesn't move, too stunned to speak, just letting the recording run as the instrument keeps slamming back and forth like it's being pulled by something unseen. Eventually, the noise stops as suddenly as it began, the guitar coming to rest against the wall again. There was no explanation, no reaction, just the quiet aftermath of something that clearly shouldn't have been able to move at all. A man had just been woken up by loud banging somewhere in his house and decided to start filming to catch what was going on. The video begins with him sitting up in bed, the camera shaking slightly as he listens. The strange noises continue, muffled but close, almost like they're coming from inside the walls themselves. He hesitates for a moment, then gets up, his footsteps quite against the floor. When he opens his bedroom door, it creaks loudly, the sound echoing through the still house. Breathing heavily, he steps into the corridor, following the noises to a small room on the other side of the wall they seem to come from. The hallway light flickers as he switches it on, throwing uneven shadows across the floor. He pauses outside the door, hand trembling on the handle, before finally pulling it open. Inside, the room is almost completely dark except for the faint glow from the hallway. But in that light, something can be seen sitting on the floor. It's a jester figure, fake but unsettling. Its painted smile catching just enough light to look real. It sits perfectly still, propped against the sofa, facing the wall. The man doesn't speak, just stands there breathing hard, the camera locked on it. The clip ends shortly after, time-stamped at just before midnight. Perhaps the jester had something to do with the noises. The next part of the story came not from the man himself, but from his basement CCTV camera. He had completely forgotten that he'd left the jester figure sitting exactly how it was the night before. But early the next evening, around the same time, he received a motion alert on his phone from that camera. Curious and a little uneasy, he opened the live feed to check. At first, nothing seemed out of the ordinary. He saw just the same dark basement with the jester still sitting there against the wall. But as the footage played, faint shadows began to shift around beside it, moving like someone was pacing slowly just out of frame. The shadows flickered and stretched, but there was no visible person causing them. The motion sensor light didn't react either, as if whatever was moving wasn't physically there. He watched in silence, barely breathing, as one of the shadows seemed to lean closer to the jester, then vanish completely. The camera stayed recording for another few seconds before going still again. Nobody entered, nobody left, yet the shadows had clearly been there. It left him wondering if the noises that woke him the night before hadn't come from inside the walls after all, but from something that was still sharing his home, and now watching from below. A few nights later, more CCTV footage surfaced from the same basement, only this time, things looked different. The jester, which had been left untouched since the last recording, was no longer sitting in the same way. Instead of facing straight ahead, its head was now tilted sharply downward, chin almost resting on its chest. The man swore he hadn't moved it. Nobody had even gone down there. The camera kept recording in silence, the jester's shadow stretching long across the floor. Then, without warning, the feed jolted violently. The camera shook once, as if something had brushed against it, before toppling from its stand and hitting the floor. The screen turned sideways, showing only the irrelevant parts of the basement. There was no sign of movement, no one entering or leaving the frame, yet the fall was sudden and deliberate. Later that night, the man posted an update saying he'd been watching the footage live when it happened, and the moment the camera dropped, the lights upstairs flickered too. He hasn't been back into the basement since. Instead, he's been in contact with local buyers, hoping to sell the house entirely. He says he doesn't even care about losing money, he just wants to leave before whatever's in that basement decides to come upstairs. CCTV footage taken late one night shows a long, dimly lit hallway stretching deep into the building. At first, it seems completely empty, with just the faint hum of the overhead lights and the quiet static of the camera feed. but then a pale white figure begins to take shape at the far end.
That's pretty cool. How can we do that?
This looks like she's floating, Bob. You got it?
Oh god, that gives me the creeps.
Yep.
It doesn't walk or move like a person. Rather, it floats, gliding slowly forward with no sound, no footsteps, and no shadow beneath it. The figure drifts toward the corner before turning and disappearing completely from view. Seconds later, the feed cuts to another camera inside a nearby room. The same floating shape is now there, before it glides out again. When the security team reviewed the footage, they were reportedly terrified. None of the motion sensors in that area had triggered, and there were no signs of forced entry. Whatever it was, it moved freely through locked doors and cameras, as if the walls themselves didn't exist. It was a quiet evening in the house with nothing moving, and more importantly, no one home. This piece only lasted until the kitchen camera caught something unexpected. The room sat still for several minutes before, without warning, two cupboards pulled themselves wide open at the exact same time. They didn't inch open slowly like from air pressure. They jolted outward abruptly, stopping halfway as if pulled by invisible hands. Just as the cupboard stopped moving, the entire house alarm began blaring. The sudden noise echoed through the footage, the sound ringing as if someone had triggered a sensor or forced entry. But there was nobody there. The doors were still locked, the windows closed, and the motion system hadn't detected a single living thing. By the time the homeowners returned, the alarm had reset itself, and everything in the kitchen was back in place, except the cupboards still hanging open, almost like a reminder that whatever caused it didn't plan on leaving quietly. Two girls were on a late-night road trip, laughing and singing along to music as their car cruised down an empty stretch of highway. The air was quiet outside, their headlights cutting through the fog that hung low across the road. This was the route locals called the Haunted Highway, known for the woman in white said to appear walking along it at night. They joked about it earlier, not really believing the stories, but that was not for long.
I want to know why she's so fancy. I think I see her. Do you actually? Unless that's just a light post, but it looks like something white over there. Oh yeah. No, you guys, we're getting haunted. That's no. She turned. Or wait, did she? She's walking yet.
As they turned a corner, one of them suddenly alerted the others that they saw her. The other looked up just in time to catch a glimpse of a faint figure ahead, dressed all in white, standing near the side of the road. Her posture was strange as she moved. The girl driving sped up, panicking, and the figure disappeared from sight as they passed. They looked back, hearts pounding, but the road was empty again. No car, no person, just the echo of tires on pavement. Whether it was someone real or the spirit people warned about, neither of them spoke for the rest of the drive. A guy is lying on his bed in the next clip, breathing heavily as he films himself and explains he's been hearing knocking sounds coming from his closet for the past few minutes. He's clearly scared, but trying to stay calm, talking quietly while keeping the camera pointed toward the closet door.
I just heard knocking from the closet.
The moment he mentions the knocking, a loud, sharp knock echoes from inside the closet, so loud that he jumps and freezes in place. He slowly gets out of bed and walks toward it, breathing deeply as he inches closer. Just before his hand reaches the handle, another knock hits the door, this one quicker and just as forceful, almost like whatever's inside is responding directly to him. He swings the door open and films every corner of the closet, but it's completely empty. No movement, no shadows, nothing out of place. He steps back into the hallway, trying to process what just happened, when suddenly the door across from the closet slams shut on its own. He spins around in panic, but the room is empty. No one there. This entire sequence makes it seem like whatever was knocking wasn't confined to the closet at all, and it wasn't done trying to get his attention. Celsa set up a CCTV camera in her daughter's room because something had been keeping the little girl awake night after night, and they wanted to finally see what was going on. The footage she shared was recorded just before 6 in the evening, long before bedtime, which made what happened even stranger. The room looks completely normal at first, sunlight still coming through the curtains, but every few seconds, small orbs drift across the frame, floating in different directions, as if they have their own movement. Her daughter is lying on the bed, fast asleep, totally unaware of what the camera is picking up. Then, right at the end of the clip, the duvet at the foot of the bed pulls downward in a single, smooth tug. The girl doesn't move, and nothing is visible touching it. The blanket shifts a few inches, as if someone grabbed it from below, then it settles back into place. There's no one in the room with her, and the orbs from earlier make the moment feel even more unsettling. For Celsa, this confirmed that her daughter wasn't imagining things, and something in that room might actually be interacting with her when no one else is around. Here's where things get even stranger. A second CCTV camera in the living room was recording close to 9 at night, and this time the entire house was empty. There's no movement on the furniture, no shadows passing by, nothing that should be causing any disturbances. But in the hallway beyond the living room, something small keeps peeking out every so often. It leans into view for a split second, almost like a head or a tiny figure, then pulls back into the darkness. It happens repeatedly throughout the footage, always quick enough that you'd miss it if you weren't watching closely. With nobody home and nothing in the house that could explain it, the hallway sightings left Celsa even more convinced that whatever tugged the duvet upstairs might be moving freely through other parts of the home too. In the final clip of the saga, Celsa's daughter is asleep again, this time in the middle of the day. It's just after 1 in the afternoon, bright outside. Nothing that should make the room feel unsettling at all. But then something strange happens, so take a look. The camera is pointed at the bed the same way as before. Everything is calm at first, then something beside her shifts in a way that's different from the earlier tug caught on camera. Something small seems to move across the fabric, almost like a tiny eye twitching for a moment before disappearing. It's impossible to tell exactly what it is, but the motion is clear, and it isn't the girl, who stays completely still the whole time. The movement is subtle but unmistakable, the kind that makes your stomach drop, because it shouldn't be happening at all. After everything else caught in this house, this final clip feels like the most direct sign yet that something is actually on the bed with her, even in broad daylight, and whatever has been disturbing her hasn't gone anywhere. A man was out in his backyard when he noticed something moving deep in the woodlands behind his house. Something subtle enough that at first he thought his eyes were playing tricks on him, but when it happened again, he pulled out his phone and started filming just in case.
Hi, it's me again. I'm just calling just to let you know. I've seen that thing again in the backyard. I've got the camera on. I'm trying to capture it. I don't know what it is, but I'm going to see if I can get it. Anyway, give me a call when you get this message. Bye. No! What is that? No way. No. What is that? No way. Yeah, it's me. I've just seen that thing. I've actually got it on camera. I'll show you when you get home. Give me a call as soon as you get this message.
After a few seconds of watching from the yard, he decides to rush back inside and run upstairs for a better angle from the window. When he zooms in from the second floor, that's when he finally catches it clearly enough to make his voice go shaky. Something strange glides across the tree line. Not solid, not fully visible, but not invisible either. It looks like a distortion in the air, the way heat waves ripple, except this moves with purpose, almost shaped like someone walking, but completely transparent. You can see the trees through it, yet the outline is unmistakable as it drifts between them. It doesn't behave like an animal or a shadow, and it's too defined to be a camera glitch. The man stays silent for a few seconds, before calling someone and letting them know. But whatever it is just keeps moving until it fades behind the thicker trees. Whatever was in those woods wasn't trying to hide, but it definitely wasn't something he could understand. A group of friends were hanging out home alone for the night, just talking and messing around, when they suddenly heard something fall in one of the rooms down the hall. At first they laughed it off, but when it happened again they all went quiet and called out hello, asking if someone was there, even though they knew nobody else was in the house. The noises kept coming in short bursts, like objects shifting around on their own, so they finally grabbed a phone and decided to check it out together.
¿Están escuchando? Soy yo. Se están escuchando mazo de ruidos, tú. Yo vine del baño. No vayas, estás loco, Hermano. ¿Qué es lo que quiere que vayas? Vale, venga, poco a poco, tío. Una polla. Una polla. No. Para la linterna, hermano, ¿qué haces? ¿Estás loco? Si está escuchando, hermano. Escúchame. Pon la linterna ahí, hermano. ¿Hola? Una polla. Hermano, esto da mucho mal rollo, ¿Hay alguien ahí? No. Hermano. Tira, vamos a ver lo que es. Pero, hermano, no. Acércate, ¿cómo? Tira. Asoma la cámara. Acércate lo que hay, Vale, ahí no hay nada. Nada ahí. ¡Hostia puta! ¡Corre, hermano! ¡Corre! What the fuck!
They peek round the bathroom door, slowly, joking nervously as they film. But the second the camera tilts toward the bath, their voices drop instantly. Reflected in the glass is an uncanny face staring back at them, not shaped like any of theirs, not human in a way that makes your stomach twist. The eyes look too wide, the smile too sharp, and it's in a place where nobody in the group was physically standing. One of them runs away in pure panic before they all sprint back down the hallway. Whatever they caught in that room wasn't a prank. And it wasn't any of them. It was something else watching them from the darkness of the bathroom. Jason was trying to grab a late bite at the subway inside Memorial Hospital, a place that already had a reputation for ghost sightings over the years. Nurses had talked about strange footsteps, flickering lights, and even a little girl seen wandering the halls long after visiting hours. Jason didn't really believe any of it, but while waiting for a member of staff to show up, he decided to film the empty place just to show how eerie the place was.
Alright, we're at Subway at Memorial Hospital, and there's been reports of ghost activity. Maybe we'll get lucky and capture a ghost. It's a ghost of a little girl. Oh my god, there she was!
For the first few seconds, nothing happens, just the hum of the machines and the glow of the fluorescent lights. Then out of nowhere a blur sprints across the frame, low to the ground, and fast enough that you only catch the shape for a moment before it disappears behind a counter. Jason jumps, but there's nobody there at all. No footsteps, no signs of movement, no child in sight. The blur almost resembles a small figure, and with the hospital's old stories about a little girl spirit roaming the cafeteria after dark, people started calling this clip the clearest proof yet. Whatever rushed past Jason wasn't a customer, wasn't a worker, and definitely wasn't human. A man was home alone while his daughter slept in the next room, editing something on his phone, when he suddenly heard a single piano key echo from his daughter's playroom. He grabbed his camera and walked quietly toward his daughter's room first, making sure she hadn't gotten up, but she was still fast asleep, and nothing seemed out of place. He waited in the doorway, listening, trying to convince himself it was just settling wood or a toy shifting.
It always gets crazy when I'm here by myself. Or when my daughter's sleeping. But, see? I told you. I want her piano again. Hello? See, there's her piano. Don't mind her room. She has so many damn toys. You gotta clean up like every day in here. Hello? But at least y'all caught that part. Yeah. Nope, I'm good. Nope, I'm good. Shut that. I'm telling you, every time I'm here by myself, man. See, look, her piano's still going off in there, man.
Then the piano plays itself again, a different note this time, loud enough to make him flinch. Before he can even react, a toy robot sitting on the trampoline beside the piano suddenly activates on its own, even though nobody touched it. The man doesn't wait to see what happens next. He turns around instantly and walks straight out of the room, clearly done with whatever had just decided to wake up in the middle of the night. David, an Italian ghost hunter fluent in English, had been exploring what his client claimed could possibly be one of the most haunted houses in the area when something strange made him start recording. He explained that just moments before filming, a plant in the corner had shifted on its own and the chandelier above him had started to sway.
Okay, TikTok. I'm in another fucking haunted house, I swear. This plant just moved and the chandelier. My client went out to town, elderly guy, but he was here alone, but he has a lot of these artifacts here. I don't think I have attachment or anything. But yeah. Whoa, what the hell? This is what I'm talking about. You guys heard that?
As he continues talking to the camera, a loud sound of a door slamming closed can be heard somewhere deeper in the house, more than likely upstairs. David looks around, while behind him the chandelier begins to swing again, more noticeably this time. The movement is slow, deliberate, and eerily timed with each sound coming from elsewhere in the house. He stands still for a few seconds, narrating the video, clearly unsure of what to do next. This investigation doesn't stop here though. This story will continue in a future video on my channel. Subscribe. The following video begins with the sound of deep, uneasy breathing. A man is filming from his bed, phone trembling slightly in his hand. From downstairs, a woman's voice can be heard calling out the words, "Babe, come downstairs," over and over, each time sounding a little more impatient.
What the
Alexa, turn on all lights.
I couldn't find any enabled video skills.
Really?
Thanks, Alexa. To manage your video skills and devices.
Then, the sound of a door opening and closing echoes through the house. The man knows that nobody else should be home, and the clip abruptly switches to CCTV, footage from downstairs, showing a door near the hallway swinging open on its own before slowly shutting again. The woman's voice stops entirely after that, replaced by something much more chilling. A faint, mechanical tune that sounds like it's coming from a toy somewhere in the man's room. The camera shakes as he pans around trying to find the source, and the eerie, dollhouse-like melody keeps looping, echoing through the silence. The man doesn't speak again after that, just films in disbelief as the sound continues until the video cuts, leaving viewers wondering if the voice that called him down was ever really human. The next clip from this story shows Ali's prayer mat, and he starts his explanation saying the story took place whilst he was praying. He explains in a low voice the eerie music from the night before. The same dollhouse-like tune has started again, coming from a small music box he keeps on his shelf.
Guys, I was just praying, and the music box just started playing by itself. Can you do that again? Nope. Nope. Nope, nope, nope.
The camera focuses on it as the melody begins to play on its own, no one touching it. The soft, mechanical tune echoes through the room, sending chills through the silence. Ali's breathing grows heavier, and he mutters a prayer under his breath before kneeling forward again. He films the music box continuing to play despite not being wounded. Once it finally stops, he prays 3 more times in succession, visibly shaken, but trying to stay composed. He later explains that whatever is in his home doesn't seem to want to leave, and that he's now considering bringing in someone spiritual to cleanse the place. In the next clip, we see a woman sitting at her desk, casually talking to the camera. Her tone is calm but clearly frustrated as she explains how she's been having strange problems lately with managing to get people to come to her shows, and she doesn't understand how. She is evidently confused with the situation, but little did she know that she was about to become far more confused from something else.
I just want to know how I can get people to come to our shows. How do we get people to come to our shows? No, I'm just trying to understand. Tell me it doesn't look like there's someone right here. There's not.
As she continues talking, behind her, in the doorway that seems to lead to a closet, something suddenly falls to the floor in a swift motion. The movement is quick and sharp. Cutting through the quiet room, she freezes mid-sentence, her eyes darting toward the sound, before slowly turning around in disbelief. From the camera's angle, it's clear the doorway is fully visible, meaning no one could have been inside or near it. After ending the clip, she gets up, cautiously walks to the closet, opens it wide, and finds nothing inside. Very spooky indeed. It begins with the sound of frantic barking echoing through a quiet house. The camera switches on as the person behind the camera is very confused because they don't even own a dog. The barking seems to be coming from below, down near the basement.
Hello?
Oh my god!
As they approach the staircase, the noise grows louder, mixed with the unsettling noise of the basement door repeatedly opening and closing at the bottom. The person hesitates for a moment, panning the camera to their blue-haired friend behind them before slowly making their way down. The sound of claws against the floor echoes up the steps, the barking sharp and desperate. When they reach the halfway point, something starts charging upward, heavy, rapid footsteps, but there's nothing visible. No animal, no figure, just the sound rushing past the camera. The person gasps and stumbles back up the stairs out of fear. What's most unsettling is how real the barking sounded, yet how completely invisible whatever made it was. Viewers have started calling it one of the clearest recordings of a ghost dog ever caught on camera. A few days later, the man's mother came over to visit, bringing her dog along. Wanting to prove what he'd been hearing, he decided to film again while she was upstairs. The clip begins with him standing halfway down the basement stairs, camera in hand, while the same unsettling noises echo from below. The sound of the basement door rattling and creaking is identical to before, as if whatever caused it had returned. At the top of the stairs, his mother's dog stands frozen, staring down into the darkness, its ears pinned back and body tense. The man takes a breath and walks down the remaining steps. He flips on the basement light, revealing the quiet, still space below, except for one single door at the far end, the one that always seems to make the noise. As he gets closer, the air seems heavy, the only sound being the faint hum of the light above. Then, without warning, the door creaks open entirely on its own. From the top of the stairs, the dog lets out a deep bark, barking again and again, refusing to come down. The man freezes, whispering for it to stop, but the barking only grows louder. He runs away. Viewers later pointed out how dogs often sense things humans can't, leaving many convinced that whatever was haunting that basement had finally made itself known. The footage begins upstairs this time, showing the man cautiously standing in his sitting room, camera in hand. The camera aims at a cabinet before, without warning, the right door creaks open all on its own. He stops dead in his tracks, filming it slowly swinging wider, and it's important to remember nobody else was home. Then, from across the hallway, the light above another room begins to sway back and forth, casting long, distorted shadows on the walls. He steps closer, his breathing quick and uneven, each creak of the floorboards echoing through the house. Just as he reaches out toward the swinging light, a sudden thunderous smash explodes somewhere nearby, cutting the electricity completely. Every light in the house goes out in an instant. The camera captures his panicked breathing in the darkness as he scans around, trying to see what broke. Then, for just a second, he freezes and stumbles back. The lens catches him staring into a nearby room, and then he sounds audibly shocked at what he saw in there. The clip ends there as he turns and runs, leaving viewers certain that whatever haunted his basement had now made its way up gears. The following video begins with the camera shaking slightly, the person behind it clearly nervous. A young woman is filming inside her bathroom after noticing something strange. The toilet paper roll swaying on its own, and the blinds shifting as if a breeze was pushing through, even though the window is closed.
I don't remember fucking opening that. What the fuck is that? Okay. Oh shit. What the fuck is that? Fuck. What is that? Why? That's on the outside. What honestly is that? What honestly is that? I can use which. What the fuck is? It's on the outside. It's on the outside. I'm scared. I'm terrified. I'm hard. What am I gonna do? What am I gonna do?
Once she starts to record, she moves closer, her breathing quick, whispering to herself as she reaches for the blinds to check behind them. There's nothing there, just an empty window. She turns the camera back toward the window, and that's when it happens. 3 distinct finger marks suddenly drag themselves across the surface, leaving behind white scratch-like streaks, as if something unseen had swiped at it. The sound is faint, but sharp, enough to make her jump back. She slams the blinds shut, muttering nervously before quickly walking out of the bathroom. The clip ends abruptly, the camera still trembling, and whatever made those marks remains completely unseen. Ellen had been home alone that night when the knocking started. At first, it was faint, but then it grew louder, more desperate, like someone begging to be let inside. The camera shakes slightly in his hands as he walks through the dimly lit hallway toward the front door, his voice trembling as he whispers that he's scared.
Pensé que ya lo había visto todo, pero... Oh my God. Pero... esto es lo que está sucediendo en estos momentos. Sonidos y gritos extraños. Y ahora la puerta. Como pueden ver, estoy completamente solo. No sé a qué me estoy enfrentando, pero tengo mucho miedo, mucho miedo. Vamos a ver qué es lo que podemos captar. No sé si ustedes logran ver algo o logran ver a ver qué o quién está haciendo esos ruidos, ese llanto. Son las 4:45 de la madrugada y no, nada más esto me faltaba. No manches.
The knocking continues in sharp bursts until he finally reaches for the lock and hesitantly opens the door. For a moment, there's only silence, and then soft crying can be heard from outside. The sound is faint but heart-wrenching, echoing through the empty street. Ellen freezes, then quickly shuts the door again, locking it tightly and backing away. He tries to calm his breathing as he walks off, clearly in a state of distress and nerves. But before he can reach his room, a low, eerie whistling begins from behind the door, slow and deliberate, as if whoever or whatever was out there knew he was listening. The clip cuts there, ending with Ellen running toward his room in pure panic. Sophie had been feeling uneasy all day after hearing strange noises in her room, the kind that made her question if someone else was there. To calm down, she stepped outside with a ball, kicking it gently across the yard while trying not to look back at the house. The camera follows her as she walks further away, her tone light but nervous. She must have been starting to feel better at least.
I'm like really paranoid right now. Ew, it smells weird in my mouth. Oh, that just went. Hello? Oh no, I'm out. I'm done. That's it. I'm out. No.
About a minute and 16 seconds into the recording, a faint whisper can be heard calling her name. The most frightening part is that it isn't just any voice, it's her own, perfectly matching her tone and pitch, but coming from behind her near the house. She freezes instantly, the ball rolling to a stop beside her foot. The whisper repeats, softer this time, almost teasing. Without hesitating, Sophie sprints back toward the house, the camera shaking wildly as she fumbles for the door. She rushes inside, slams it shut, and locks it, her breathing heavy. Who knows if she truly escaped whatever this was that night, but what we do know is she is too frightened to inform her parents. Late one night, Wyatt was sitting on his bed when his dog suddenly started barking toward the window. At first, he thought it was just another animal outside, but the dog's behavior quickly turned strange. It wasn't looking out the window. It was staring just beside it, inside the room.
It has been freaking me out for about 15 minutes. I know, dude. What's going on? What are you seeing? Something's been spooking him. He's jumping around. This dude. What are you seeing? Why don't you back up? Charlie. I know. Calm down. It's okay. What are you seeing? You're freaking me out, buddy. Do we need to go? Should we go, Bubba? You tell me when it's time to go. Because I don't know what you're looking at, but when we need to go, you let me know, buddy. What's freaking you out, bub? Okay. Should we go? Yeah? You leave when we gotta go. As soon as you walk out, I'll be right behind you.
Wyatt aimed the camera in that direction, but nothing could be seen. The dog, however, wouldn't stop growling, its fur raised and tail tucked low, letting out uneasy whines between low rumbles. Wyatt tried to calm it, gently saying it was okay, but the dog's focus stayed fixed on something above eye level, as if whatever it saw was tall and standing against the wall. The tension builds until Wyatt nervously asks his dog if it wants to go. That's when it happens. A faint, unmistakable male voice answers softly from the direction of the window. It says, yes, but in a tone that's quiet and almost playful. Wyatt doesn't actually realize the ghost replies, whilst the dog slowly backs away, still growling at the empty space. The clip ends there, leaving the voice unexplained. A woman had started filming after hearing footsteps echoing faintly through her house late at night. Her voice is quiet, unsure, as she moves from room to room, trying to figure out where the sounds are coming from. She eventually stops outside the bathroom with an evident suspicion that it may be involved with the haunting. The air feels heavy, and for a few seconds, everything goes still. She steps inside the bathroom, looking around with the camera pointed toward the mirror and shower, but nothing seems out of place. Then, just as she's about to turn the camera off, something subtle happens. Exactly 1 minute into the video, a clear shadow passed across the railings of the stairs ahead of her, and it was moving smoothly as if someone had just walked by. The woman didn't notice it at the moment, but when she reviewed the footage later, that shadow confirmed what she'd feared all along. She hadn't been alone in the house that night. Misty had decided to post a follow-up video after her previous paranormal clip gained a lot of attention. In this one, she slowed the footage down to show what really happened. It was from her baby cam facing the crib where her youngest was sleeping, while her older son's bunk bed was left vacant due to him being at football practice.
Hey y'all, I see all of your comments coming through. I had no idea that this video was going to blow up like it did, so I have not been able to respond to everybody. A lot of you had said that the video was too fast for you to see anything, so I'll include it on here with it slowed down. I still have no idea what happened or what that was. I left the house today. My son had a football game and my mother-in-law was here. She lost internet for like, I don't know, maybe 2 hours. That was really the only weird thing that happened while I was gone for her. And that's all I have. It was a 4-second video. As soon as I saw that object appear on the top of the bunk bed, I just threw my phone and camera and I just went running up there. So I just really didn't get much longer of a video than that. I will see how tonight goes and see what we need to do further, if it's nothing or if it ends up being something. So have a good night.
For a few seconds, everything looks peaceful until a strange shadow-like object suddenly pops out from the side of the bunk. It moves quickly, almost like it's crawling or leaning forward, before vanishing just as fast as it appeared. Misty immediately ran upstairs when she first saw it live, convinced something was in the room, but when she got there, nothing was out of place. No one else was upstairs, and her baby was sound asleep. Thankfully, the baby was completely fine, but the slowed-down footage made it impossible to ignore that something unexplainable had definitely appeared beside the crib. After the slowed-down footage went viral, A lot of people in the comments wanted to know more about the room itself, so Misty decided to vlog the entire space to clear things up. She started by explaining that the baby had been moved into this room recently from what was now her home office. From the start of the video, she admits she always feels uneasy there, saying it's hard to even breathe when she walks inside. Take a look at what happens when she plucks up the courage to enter, though.
Okay, a lot of y'all were asking about the room situation, so I'm gonna run that through real quick. We moved my daughter from this room into this room. She got new furniture. That's why the bunk bed is still in there. Then we moved the baby from my office, which used to be her bedroom, now it's my office again, up into this room. So this is the attic that's in between the rooms that I was talking about that's cracked. It's been that way for a while, so it's not something that I'm overly concerned about, but y'all have got me freaking out in the comments. I cannot even breathe walking in this room because I am truly terrified, but I'm gonna walk y'all in here real quick. This is the bunk bed. This is where I took her out of her crib, ran up the bunk bed. There was nothing up there when I came. We have her rocking chair, her changing station, her closet with all of the stuff that we still need to put up. This is where I have everything that was gifted. I know a lot of y'all were saying check stuff that came from a thrift store or that wasn't yours because it might be causing it. I will show you guys up here. There's nothing suspicious. There's no hair from like a rat or something that could have came in. This is marker. These are still tucked in on the sides, like they're still tight from, you know, if somebody was trying to be underneath the blankets. I don't think that's plausible. So I don't know. I have no idea what could be causing it. Oh my God, it's rocking.
She turns the light on and shows that nothing seems unusual at first. The crib sits quietly in the corner, and she points up to the top bunk to prove there's nothing up there either. Everything appears normal, but as she's talking, something subtle shifts in the background. The small chair next to the bed begins to rock gently on its own. Misty freezes, the camera shaking slightly as she realizes what's happening. The chair keeps moving, slow but deliberate, as if someone invisible had just stood up from it. The clip cuts off as she lets out a loud scream and starts her escape from the room, ending the video abruptly. In the next video, Misty is sitting in the living room doing her daughter's hair, trying to get back to normal after everything that had happened. She's chatting softly to her, laughing here and there, and for the first few seconds, everything feels calm.
Mom,
how'd you sleep last night?
Good, but Avery wasn't out last night.
Well, you slept with me. How would you have heard her wake up? She slept all night.
There was music playing from her room. You guys were like laughing.
Are you sure you weren't dreaming?
I don't think I was dreaming. I got like no sleep.
Sorry, baby.
Oh, it's Brandon. Hi, Brandon.
Good morning, sunshine.
Good morning.
You already awake?
Yeah.
How was your night?
Sissy said that Avery kept her up all night because she said she heard her like laughing and playing and music going in her room.
Didn't you have her in the room last night, or?
Yeah, I had Avery last night.
Yeah, you have some crazy dreams, or?
That's what I said.
I'm just want to call, make sure you're awake and getting ready. I love you. I'll call you later, okay?
Love you.
Okay, bye-bye.
Then, around 11 seconds in, a faint voice can be heard over the background noise. It's quiet, but clear enough to make out. It says, "Hey." Misty doesn't seem to notice it right away, but viewers caught it instantly and flooded the comments asking who else was in the room. She later confirmed that it was just her and her daughter home at the time. No one else had been in the house, and the voice hadn't come from the TV or her phone. After hearing it back herself, Misty admitted she's now looking into how to sell the house altogether, saying she can't shake the feeling that whatever was in there isn't finished with them yet. In the following piece of footage, Melody explains that her birthday was just a few days ago, and someone had sent her a bouquet of pink flowers. They were beautiful, but they came with no note, no sender information, and nobody in her life ever mentioned sending them. She figured it was a mix-up, or maybe a secret admirer, but she didn't think much more about it. Then, on the day of the recording, she came home from work and found another delivery waiting at her door.
Okay, this might be nothing, but the timing is just not it. It was my birthday, right? And I got these flowers. people. They're dying. I know. That's not weird because it's me. Okay? They die. No note. So, and I figured, you know, when it's my birthday, someone's gonna call or text me and be like, "Happy birthday, did you like my flowers?" That didn't happen. It didn't happen. So, hold on, my dogs are freaking out. Hold on. Back to the story. So today when I get home, okay, yeah, I leave a note.
This time it was a fresh set of bright yellow flowers, arriving at the exact moment her original pink bouquet was starting to wilt. Still no note, no message, no clue. After the footage, she checked with family, friends, even co-workers, and not a single person claimed they were from them. The timing feels deliberate, almost like someone is watching closely enough to know when the first set was beginning to die. Now she's not sure if she should be flattered, creeped out, or both, because whoever is sending them clearly isn't finished. In the follow-up clip, she explains that after posting the video about the mysterious flowers, her followers started messaging her non-stop, all saying the same thing. They claimed something appeared behind her while she was talking, something she hadn't noticed at all in the moment. Curious and a little shaken, she went back into the footage and adjusted the brightness and contrast to see what they were talking about, and this is what she uncovered.
Warning, if you scare easy, this shit made my stomach drop. So once again, I could have gone my whole life without y'all telling me there's something behind me. In every single one of my videos is the one where I get flowers, no note. I thought that's what the TikTok was about, but apparently there is someone or something standing behind me in the doorway. I decided I'm going to screen record myself screenshotting the doorway, playing around with the settings. This is what I found.
In the doorway behind her, barely visible at first, an almost fully transparent human figure is standing there, shaped just enough to recognize but faded enough to look unreal. The longer she stares at the edited frame, the clearer it looks, like someone was silently watching her from just a few feet away. She's convinced now that this wasn't some random glitch or shadow trick. After all, someone has been sending her flowers with oddly perfect timing, and the presence behind her didn't look like anything living. Her followers think it might be connected, maybe even the same unseen visitor, leaving gifts on her doorstep. She isn't sure what to believe anymore, but she's certain she's not alone in that house. Matt decided to set up a camera in the kitchen before leaving for work, hoping to finally catch whatever had been making noises in the middle of the day when nobody was home. He mentioned earlier that strange things kept happening while he was gone, so he left the camera running for hours just to see what would show up. Little did he know that he was actually going to capture something. The footage opens with a wide shot of the quiet kitchen. Nothing moving, no pets, no open windows, nothing that could cause any disturbance. Then, without warning, one of the chairs at the dining table suddenly tips over, crashing to the floor with enough force to echo across the room. A few seconds later, before the silence even settles, another chair at the kitchen counter falls over on its own, this one leaning almost purposefully, before dropping flat like something had pushed it. Matt watched all this back later and was stunned. There were no drafts, no people, no reason for two different chairs across the room to fall the way they did. Whatever's been in his house wasn't hiding anymore, and the camera finally proved it. A few days later, Matt was actually holding the camera himself this time, instead of relying on the kitchen setup, and he was in the bathroom attached to his bedroom when he started hearing strange noises coming from the closet. He thought maybe his girlfriend was messing with something in there, so he stepped out of the bathroom and began filming while calling for her, but she didn't answer, and the bedroom was completely empty.
I'm in my bathroom that's attached to my bedroom. I keep hearing fucking noises coming from the closet that's just on the other side of the wall. But Sarah's gone. Babe. Babe. Hello? Babe? Max? What the fuck? Oh, what the? Dude.
As he points the camera toward the open doorway of the closet, in the darkness something faint and hard to identify can be seen shifting near the back wall. It barely has a shape, almost blending into the shadows, but it's enough to send him into a panic. Matt immediately sprints out of the room and runs to the other side of the house, completely shaken. Whatever was in that closet wasn't human, and it definitely wasn't waiting around to be seen any clearer. A woman was sitting in a leather chair, looking exhausted after a long day, while her partner filmed her from across the room just to capture her quote-unquote being attractive. She wasn't expecting anything unusual to happen, but the camera accidentally picked up something behind her that they instantly clocked onto.
You look tired.
Yeah, kinda.
Tonight was a long night.
It was. Why are you filming me?
You just look really good right now.
I do think we're a pretty attractive couple. Don't you think?
Yeah, definitely. Oh my god.
What? What happened? Did you see something?
In the window behind her, a dark figure can be seen walking past, moving smoothly from one side to the other, as if someone was outside looking in. The man recording instantly reacts, rushing out the door to check the yard, expecting to catch whoever walked by. But the second he gets outside, there's nothing. No footsteps, no shadows, nobody even close to the house. The yard is completely empty. The figure in the window had to have been a ghost, and seeing it after the fact only made the situation even more unsettling. In another clip that was posted a few days later, the same woman from the window video decided to vlog about how uneasy she'd been feeling since that night. She explained she'd been getting random goosebumps around the house and just wanted to document it in case anything else happened. For the first few seconds, she's walking around and talking normally until something suddenly catches her off guard.
Hey, so I know some of you don't believe me, but I've been starting to get goosebumps and the hair on the back of my neck is starting to... What the hell?! We are moving.
What happened?
We see her gasp before she spins the camera around toward the bathroom, and there it is. A huge human-shaped shadow standing directly behind the shower curtain, tall and completely still. She hesitates only a second before pulling the curtain back with one quick motion, but there's nothing behind it at all. No person, no shadow, nothing that could have created that shape. Her voice is shaking as she backs away and calls out to her boyfriend that they're moving out, because at this point, she's had enough. In the final part of their footage, the man starts filming again after Savannah tells him she's been hearing voices coming from the balcony area. She sounded stressed at the time, so he decided to go check it out with the camera rolling. As he begins walking toward the balcony door, something unexpected happens.
Okay, so Savannah's saying that she's hearing voices out on the balcony, so I told her I would check it out. What the hell is that? I definitely just saw somebody out there.
Did you see something?
Before he even reaches the balcony, a tall shadow figure is already standing at the window, its shape pressed against the glass as if it's staring inside. He freezes for a second, trying to focus the camera, but just then, something behind him falls with a loud clatter that makes him spin around in shock. When he turns back toward the balcony, only a moment later, the shadow figure is completely gone. No movement, no fading, nothing. Whatever Savannah had been hearing wasn't just a voice this time, it was watching them. A man called Professor Cynical never believed in ghosts, ever. He was the type of person who laughed at the idea, always blaming strange sounds on pipes, neighbors, or the wind. But ever since he moved into his new house, things have shifted from mildly strange to genuinely unsettling. At first, it was just the occasional noise that he brushed off without thinking. But as weeks went by, the activity became harder and harder for him to explain away. Eventually, he decided to start recording, and that's when he captured something he can't rationalize at all.
Conclusion.
I'm honestly done with this. Every other day pretty much, this happens. I posted about this before, but people just saying, oh, the door's moving because of the wind, and it wasn't anything. And over the course of so long, it's just getting worse. I'll show you as well, there's literally nothing here. Got baby gate there. There's literally just shoe racks and that right there. Look, there's literally nothing. And if I look up here, mind the camera. But look, there's literally nothing.
He's sitting right beside his door, filming as the handle begins shaking violently on its own, rattling back and forth like someone on the other side is trying to get in. He says this happens every other day, almost like clockwork, and even though people keep telling him it's just the wind, it's painfully obvious that's not the case. As the footage continues, the shaking only gets more aggressive until he finally reaches out, grabs the handle, and pulls the door open. The camera shows the empty space behind it, nothing and no one there at all. Whatever's been rattling that door isn't the wind, and isn't something he can debunk anymore. An Instagram user has been documenting what he calls experiments with the entity that supposedly lives in his basement. At first, people thought he was just making skits, but the footage keeps getting harder to explain. In one video, the sound of slow, deliberate footsteps can be heard making their way halfway up the basement stairs.
This Instagram user posted experiments they have been doing with the paranormal entity in their basement. There are footsteps. Then the balloon is hit by an unseen force. In a second video, more footsteps are followed by the owner's hand being slapped. Finally, he tries one more experiment. Watch what happens.
Moments later, a blue balloon begins bouncing by itself in the air, not rolling or drifting, but bouncing, as though someone unseen was hitting it upward from below. A few days later, he recorded again after hearing the same footsteps. This time they climbed all the way to the top and stopped right in front of him. The camera captures his arm jerking back twice as two clear slaps echo through the basement, even though nobody visible was there. The final clip is the most unsettling. He holds a roll of toilet paper at the top of the stairs, indirectly daring the spirit in the basement to do something about it. The footsteps start again, slow and heavy, and then the roll begins to unravel itself slightly, but not to an extent that was too crazy. Viewers called it one of the clearest pieces of interaction footage they'd ever seen. It was concrete evidence that whatever's in that basement isn't just moving objects, it's responding. A little girl was sitting on the floor, playing with some of her toys, when she suddenly started talking to someone who wasn't there. At first, upon checking the camera, her parents thought she was just pretending, the way most kids do. But as she kept going, it became unsettling. She could be heard greeting someone and using a name her parents recognized instantly, Grandma Eckersley, a family member who had passed away, and they were still deeply upset by her passing. She spoke with warmth and familiarity, describing her as an angel and telling her about her toys, as though carrying on a genuine conversation. What made it all the more chilling was how naturally she spoke, because it was very clear that this wasn't just the result of a wild imagination. The parents watched the footage in silence, torn between fear and disbelief. Many online have said that young children are more receptive to things adults can't see, and if that's true, this little girl might have been speaking to someone who never really left. Built back in 1887, the house Noah lived in carried a long and eerie history. Locals say the spirits of the original homeowners never left, and after 3 years inside those walls, Noah had no doubt about it. The knocks always came at night, steady and deliberate, like someone on the other side of the door refusing to leave.
Jesus loves me, yes I know.
Built in 1887, this home was haunted by the original homeowners, Judson Hood and his wife Mary Pogue. I lived here for 3 years and just released my 10-part series explaining the history of the home and how it eventually burnt down.
Mary. Mary girl. Ooh, I'm covered in goosebumps. Mary, I know you just died 106 years ago, bitch. Give it up, Mary. Cut it out. Come on, Mary, for real. You done said your piece 106 times. Die. Go to the grave. This shit's creepy. I'll give it to you since it's your death dates or whatever. Happy 106th day in heaven. I hope you're in heaven.
I called 911.
Jesus loves me, yes I know, for the Bible. Come on, girl. What do you want? Normally you shut up when I come down here. I'm gonna try to run past it. Hey, Mary. Mary, can you stop? Mary! Stop! Creepy ass painting. I am not cut out for this shit, y'all. My motherfucking rosary.
This time, Noah decided to speak directly to whatever was there, asking it to stop, but the knocking only grew louder and faster, like it was angry. His voice shakes slightly as he warns it again, telling the presence to go away, to rest, but it doesn't stop. The sound keeps echoing through the hallway until he tells the spirit behind it to return to the grave where it came from. The moment the words leave his mouth, the video cuts out completely. The knocking didn't stop that night. A few days later, Noah posted another video. This time, the knocks had returned, louder than ever. The camera shows him halfway down the stairs, his voice tired and frustrated as he films the front door closely.
If you could just please stop. I'm trying to sleep. This is the third time you got me up. I'm here, so come on, what do you need? What are you trying to...
As soon as he stops to catch his breath, the knocking stops too. Like whatever's there is listening to him. He stands still for a few seconds, trying to process it, then speaks again, this time softer, asking the ghost to please stop because he's just trying to sleep. For a moment, there's silence. No movement, no sound, just the hum of the house in the middle of the night. Then suddenly, a scary demon jumped out, except it was actually an edit he added later of himself as a joke, something to break the tension up. But even with that small edit, viewers pointed out how real his fear seemed, how cautious he was walking down those stairs. A few nights later, Noah uploaded yet another video, saying he hadn't been sleeping properly since the last incident. The knocking had changed this time, and was not coming from the door anymore, but from the walls themselves.
Shh. Can y'all please just walk me down, please?
Hello? If you can hear me, please stop. Why are you going faster? Oh, fuck no.
The recording starts with him getting out of bed in frustration, the camera shaking as the loud thuds echo through the house. He walks to the same midpoint of the stairs, where it always seems to happen, calling out, "Hello," and demanding the ghost to stop. For a brief moment, the sounds pause, the house falling completely silent. Then, just as he begins to back away, the knocking resumes, except faster, sharper, almost rhythmic, like it's responding directly to him. His breathing quickens, the tension building as he stays frozen on the stairs. Eventually, it stops just as suddenly as it started. leaving an eerie quiet behind. Noah whispers to himself and slowly retreats back up the steps, clearly terrified to even look back. Whatever is haunting that house isn't finished with him yet. The video begins with the sound of heavy breathing, the man clearly unsettled as he films a see-through section of his wall to capture something very peculiar. As the camera pans toward the kitchen window, a small child can be seen standing perfectly still on the other side, its outline clear against the dim light. For a few tense seconds, neither of them moves. Then, when he finally gathers the courage to turn the corner and check, there's nobody there. No child, no sound, just the faint creaking of the house settling. He steps farther into the room, scanning around with his camera, and that's when a cupboard door suddenly shuts on its own, slamming with force. A whisper follows right after, barely audible, but enough to make him flinch and drop a curse under his breath. The clip cuts abruptly after that, leaving viewers questioning who, or what, that child in the window really was. Zark uploaded what he called the scariest night his family had ever experienced. The video starts with him, his wife, and their young son lying in bed, the woman trying to comfort the child, while Zark decides to get up and see what's going on.
Maybe हो
नहीं तुम बच्चे के साथ रहो नहीं तो वो डरेगा
Daddy, can I go?
No mama, you take care of mommy. Daddy will come soon. पूरा सामान गिरा हुआ है या इधर भी पूरा कवर गिरा हुआ है
He walks slowly toward the door, opens it carefully, and peers into the hallway where nothing is there. The house is silent except for the faint hum of appliances, but as he moves into the kitchen, things start to make sense, and not in a good way. Items are scattered across the floor. A cupboard is wide open, and his son's small bike has toppled over near the counter. Even a wall cover that had been perfectly secured earlier is now lying on the ground. Zark lifts it back up, presses it against the wall, and right as he does, the footage glitches. The image blurs, and the power cuts off. A moment later, the video transitions to CCTV footage he recorded earlier that night. The camera shows the cupboard door opening by itself, objects falling out one by one, the bike tipping over without anyone nearby, and finally the cover slipping down the wall on its own. Everything happens in complete silence. No people, no movement other than the objects themselves. Zark has no explanation for any of it EL, and neither do experts. All we know is that whatever's in that house made itself known to all of them that night. Dashcam footage dated July the 18th, 2021 at exactly 10 o'clock at night shows what might be one of the eeriest captures ever taken on a highway. The car is driving steadily down a dimly lit stretch of road, the lights from oncoming vehicles occasionally flashing across the windshield. For the first few seconds, everything looks perfectly normal. It's quiet, calm, and uneventful, but as the vehicle approaches a bend, something faint and human-shaped can be seen running along the side of the highway. Its outline is translucent, almost glowing against the darkness, moving at an unnatural speed, yet leaving no shadow, no sound, no trace on the road itself. The driver doesn't seem to notice, continuing straight ahead, while the figure gradually fades from view. When the footage was reviewed later, people were stunned by how clear the form appeared and how it seemed to match the movements of a real person, except for the fact that you could see right through it. Many now believe it wasn't a trick of light or reflection, but the ghost of someone still running that road, long after their time. A local resident had reached out to Camilla, asking her to record a cleansing of what she referred to as the Death Room, a space with a dark history they wanted documented for a private Facebook group. Camilla agreed to film, thinking it would just be a simple ritual and nothing more.
Heavenly Father, I ask for your divine presence to fill this space. May your light shine brightly through every room, cleansing this home of any negativity, fear, or unrest. Let peace dwell in every corner, and love be the foundation of every wall. Bless this home with your protection, surrounding it with your angels, and shielding it from harm and evil. May every door be a passage to your grace, and every window open to your blessings. In Jesus' name.
The footage shows the woman standing just outside the room in front of the doorway, reading a plea for God to cleanse and protect the space. Her voice is steady, echoing softly off the walls, while Camilla keeps the camera focused on her. Halfway through the prayer, the jewelry hanging from the woman's wrist suddenly shifts and swings on its own. The small, dangly piece moving as if something invisible had brushed against it. The woman doesn't break her chant, but Camilla is shocked at what she's capturing. She's since said this is the clip she shows anyone who doubts her, insisting nothing about that moment was staged. The next video shows Camilla alone, sitting in a room that we cannot identify, explaining the story behind the now infamous death room.
So a lot of you guys have seen that video, so I just want to explain it. Basically, one of the patients here asked me to record a video of her while she was anointing her room to post on her Facebook group page. It's like Catholic group page or whatever. And while she was praying, the rosary little gets yanked out of her hand. That's not even the weirdest thing that's happened there. Mind you, we all call this death room because anytime a patient goes in there, they pass away or they get sent to the hospital after they come in healthy. I can't, due to the confidentiality of the families and our respect for everybody in the patients, I'm literally not allowed to say that much. But the craziest thing that happened, and my coworker literally got a video of it. We had this therapy dog come in and it's playing with our patients, and then it literally runs away and it goes to the door of this death room, right? The death room, and it starts whimpering. This is a therapy dog, like.
You like the sucker? You ready to go take a shower? Yeah, here. It's not worth it? Where's your other sucker? You only have one? He said, Sheila.
Really?
She begins by saying that the room got its grim nickname for a reason. Every patient who was ever placed in it eventually passed away, no matter their condition going in. Camilla's tone is serious, her voice trembling slightly, as she talks about how the room has been avoided ever since. She goes on to share something even stranger, a story about the therapy dog that regularly visits the facility. According to her, the dog once left its group session on its own and walked straight to the door of the death room, where it began to whimper uncontrollably. To back it up, Camilla includes footage showing exactly that, the dog standing outside the door, crying and refusing to move closer. She explains that nobody could calm it down for several minutes, and from that day forward, it never approached that part of the hallway again. CCTV footage from the corner of the hallway outside the so-called death room would only deepen the mystery. The unsettling clip shows the corridor completely empty, save for the green flash of the call light above the door. Take a look at what happens next.
Why is it beeping? I don't know, no one's in there. It's crazy. Get the light, get the light. You saying chicken? Yes. Did you just get that on camera? No. Stop. No, I'm not playing with you anymore. I don't like this. No, I don't like this. I don't like this. I don't like this. This is insane right now. Right there.
Okay, you're gonna stop this right now.
After a few seconds, the light begins to flicker on and off in short, sharp bursts, as though being triggered by something unseen. Then, without warning, the door to the room slowly swings shut by itself, the sound echoing faintly through the hall. Moments later, a few nurses are drawn by the noise and go to investigate. One of them, clearly unnerved, calls out for whoever or whatever might be there to stop. They check the room thoroughly, opening the door and stepping inside, but it's completely empty. Nothing and no one to explain what had just been caught. To this day, the death room remains one of the facility's most unsettling mysteries, one even the staff refuse to discuss in detail. CCTV footage from a quiet kitchen captured something that left viewers unsettled. In the dim glow of a nightlight, a strange, fast-moving shadow sweeps across the back of the room, its shape unclear but unmistakably humanoid in motion. Both the household cat and dog can be seen reacting at the same time, their heads snapping in unison to follow the invisible movement. The cat perches its head up while the dog stiffens, staring at the same spot where the shadow had passed, as though something was still there. This all unfolded at 12:45 in the morning, a time when the house should have been completely still. The pet's synchronized reactions only add to the footage's creepiness, giving it a sense of authenticity that's hard to dismiss. When the homeowner reviewed the video the next day, they admitted it gave them chills, seeing their animals watch something that, on camera, looked like pure darkness gliding across the kitchen. They're thinking of selling the house,